How's it going, vaqueros, and welcome back to the channel. It's the day after Thanksgiving, so I hope you had a good holiday if you do celebrate Thanksgiving. Now today we're going to be going over the Masterkey Underbarrel shotgun attachment that a number of different assault rifles have. Now before I get into that, I do want to give a quick little update. I've officially began testing and looking into shotgun stuff for Warzone 2. It's a tedious process since I don't have plunder, but you can expect some videos on those coming very soon, so just get ready for that. But without further ado, let's talk about the Corvus Masterkey shotgun underbarrel attachment. Located in the underbarrel grip section, you have the Masterkey, known as the Corvus Masterkey shotgun attachment, and this is exactly as it sounds. Basically, if you press left on the D-pad on controller, I don't know what it is on PC, or rather on mouse and keyboard, then you'll basically switch to this little shotgun under your gun, where you kind of tilt your gun sideways, and you notice that your hip fire reticle turns into a circle like most traditional shotguns, and you shoot about 8 pellets per shot. Now you do also have 4 rounds in the tube, and then there's some in reserve as well, and so it's actually pretty handy if you're in a pinch and you know someone's pushing you. Maybe you have like a really slow to aim down sight sort of rifle. You can switch to this and you're a lot better off, I promise you. Now let's get into some basic numbers for the range and stuff like that. Now this underbarrel attachment isn't available on all the ARs and anything like that. It is on most of the ARs, I'll leave a list on the screen, and then a few of the battle rifles. But other than that, this is not available on any other gun. I went and checked through all of them, and so it's most of the ARs and a few of the battle rifles. Now let's go ahead and get into some important numbers like the range, the one-shot kill range, and all that kind of stuff. So the big thing to note here is that you can in fact one-shot kill people with this setup, and the one-shot kill range I tested was about 9.5 meters, and that is when I was sort of aiming down sights. It's not quite aiming down sights, you just kind of tighten your spread a little bit and you aim a little bit slower, so it's basically the equivalent of that, you know, pressing left trigger. So it doesn't give you a super tight spread, but it does make it a little bit tighter. And the one-shot kill range, like I said, was about 9.5 meters. And that, to be honest with you guys, is not too shabby at all. That is actually really good. To put into perspective though, some of the shotguns like the Bryson 890 is about a 12-meter one-shot kill. The Basilisk with the long barrel attachment with the snake shot attachment is about 11 meters if you're aiming down sight. So even though this is the lesser of them, that's still really good considering it's an attachment on your assault rifle, so that's pretty damn handy. Now one of the cool things about this is that you can also tune this attachment to give you just a little bit more range. So when I tuned it up for range, I basically took that one shot consistently to about the 10.2 meter mark, around there, give or take a tenth of a meter or two. So like I said, that's really nice considering this is just an attachment for your gun that you can just toss on there. Now as a disclaimer, I've tested it on pretty much every gun that has it, and there doesn't seem to be any difference damage or range wise. So if you use the M4 or the TAC 56 or something like that, you're not going to get like more range on this one than the other one, or it's going to be faster than the other one. They seem to be pretty much, they're all unique gun, but they just happen to be on that particular assault rifle or battle rifle, so just keep that in mind. Now it does hurt our aim down sight speed by about a frame at 60 frames per second. It was like a little bit less than a frame, I think, because sometimes it would be just a frame and other times it wouldn't seem like there was a change, so it's probably around the 10 millisecond mark, so it's really not that bad of a detriment to your aim down sight speed. In terms of the handling, like the aim down sight speed and the sprint to fire speed, it seems to kind of behave the same way on any gun. No matter what gun you put it on, it's going to behave the same way across the board. So in other words, if you put this thing on the M4 or the TAC 56, it's going to aim down sights in the same amount of time, and it's going to sprint to fire, or your sprint to fire speed is basically going to be the same exact across the board from what I can tell. So for the Masterkey attachment itself, as in when you have it equipped and you're ready to shoot your little shotgun shells, it can basically aim down sights in about 400 milliseconds, which is on the slower side. It's going to feel a little slow when you use it. I don't really like that. I like having a much snappier aim down sight speed, but the sprint to fire speed was a little bit better, and that was about 250 milliseconds. And again, these were tested at 60 frames per second, so keep that in mind. But the sprint to fire is also a little bit on the slower side. A lot of other guns, really, you can help them and you can increase their sprint to fire speed so it's a little bit faster, but these, you can't. You can't stack any attachments to make it sprint to fire faster. You can't put on a laser and stock and all this, or remove the stock and make it aim a lot quicker. It's just not going to work. Again, it just kind of seems to work in its sort of independent way, like it's kind of its own unique gun attached to the other gun, so you can't help it sprint to fire speed or aim down sight speed or anything like that, so keep that in mind. Now, I guess one of the questions is, how do you use it? Well, of course, when you have it, you really want to be up close and personal. This is sort of a backup. You can use it like a primary. Like, that's kind of what I try to do when I use these things, because I don't know, it's just fun and I like messing around with guns in that sort of quirky way. It's not ideal, but if you find someone at range or you can't really challenge them, then yeah, you can switch to your assault rifle. I kind of run it reverse, right? Like, my assault rifle is my secondary, and then the Masterkey is like my primary. I know it's stupid and it gets me killed, but it's fun and I enjoy doing it. And this attachment is fun and it's got some good utility. I mean, honestly, I don't know if I would rather use it over a grip. I think I'd rather just use an assault rifle and have better accuracy and, you know, recoil stabilization, but this Masterkey attachment is definitely very handy, and in a pinch, it can really save your butt, because someone might be pushing you and you might have a really slow aim down sights type of assault rifle. Just switch to your Masterkey. Now, I will say this thing is a little inconsistent, and that's partly because I suck at hip firing, and this hip fire reticle is pretty wide, and also when you aim down sights, it's not a super tight spread, so it makes it a little wonky at times. You might get a couple hit markers here and there. I think the most I've gotten is like 3, so it's not awful, but yeah, you really don't want to be missing your shots with this thing. And the rate of fire is actually pretty nice too, and it's a little bit faster than the Expedite, so that's also a nice thing it has going for it as well. Now, one thing to keep in mind is this thing reloads very, very slow. So if you do want to use this attachment, I highly recommend using fast hands, because it makes a pretty big difference in how fast you can reload it. And if you're going to be maining it, quote unquote maining, then you definitely want to be running fast hands. I guarantee you're going to need it. So overall, it's a fun little setup, and it's a fun way to run a lot of different guns, so give it a try, guys. But now, I want to know in the comments below what you think of this setup. What do you think of this underbarrel Masterkey attachment? Does it remind you of the ones from Black Ops 1 and stuff like that? And with all that being said, guys, I want to see you in the next shotgun video.